Troy's new police chief is sworn in.
Plus, students went on a hunt around the university. Stay tuned. TrojanVision News starts right now.
From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network, Troy, Alabama's International University, this is Troy TrojanVision News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision News for October 1st, 2015. I'm Casey Freeman.
And I'm Xavier Harris. Thank you for joining us this evening. Some Troy University students had the chance to make that first step toward finding that ever-important first job. This morning at the career fair, William MacArthur has the details.
On Thursday, Troy University students and faculty gathered in Sartain Hall to participate at the career fair. It was put together by the university's career services to help students find jobs after graduation and talk with their future employers.
Today is our big all majors career fair. We've got 53 employers here. We pretty much filled up Sartain Hall, and all students and even alumni are invited. So I hope they find some good opportunities.
The career fair was not just for students, but the fair was also to help anyone in the city of Troy and from surrounding areas.
We think it's important to try to interact with the community when we can. We want local employers to come to our fair. Of course, it's great to have part-time jobs for students too, but we're really focusing on those full-time career type jobs, but also internships. So lower classmen can come and start to look at internships and getting their foot in the door places too.
For most of these students today, they're talking with their future employers. Then there are some who are talking with recruiters about joining our armed forces.
We've got a good selection of employers. We've got some business-oriented ones like Wells Fargo, some banks, regions, some broadcast journalism type with a couple of news stations like WSFA. We've got a few technology companies that have come. There's one that's rural sourcing. They do a lot of computer programming, as does CGI.
If any student couldn't make it to the career fair on Thursday, they can always go to Career Services in Eldridge Hall.
So they can come and see us anytime. If we're not available right then, we'll set up an appointment with them. They can come have their resume reviewed. They can do a mock interview where we just do practice interviewing, give them some feedback. And then they can also come in and just sign up for our Trojan Link resources on our website. That's where all job postings go that we get from employers.
William McCarthy, Troy, TrojanVision News.
For students who missed today's fair, Career Services will hold another in the spring.
Troy's police department now has a new man in charge. The new chief officially took over the department in ceremony yesterday. On Wednesday, Chief Randall Barr was sworn into office, and he says the police department is already on solid ground.
I look forward to our future. I don't see, whole-scale changes taking place. We're on solid ground. We've got a good police department. We've got we've got good employees and good supervisors. So, we've got to work to build our relationships with the community, keep those relationships strong, and be open and honest in everything that we do, and be as transparent as possible.
There's always room for improvement, and Mayor Reeves explains how the department plans on growing.
We're working on several things. We've actually recently upped our numbers from 49 to 56. We intend to spend quite a bit on capital improvements with cars and equipment. We are in the process of implementing a computer-assisted dispatch system. So we want to stay on the cutting edge of law enforcement. We felt like we've always done that, and I know Chief Barr will continue to lead us in that direction.
Although the chief is in charge of Troy city limits, he wants to reassure university students that on-campus safety is still a priority.
Well, we are assisting the university and have stepped up patrol in those areas. Of course, we certainly ask that everybody be vigilant and use the buddy system. Make sure somebody knows where you're going. Make sure you have a partner with you if it's all possible. And, we're just a phone call away.
Barr takes over for former Chief Jimmy Ennis, who retired last Friday.
Troy's University Activity Council held a scavenger hunt for students Wednesday night. Students paired up into teams to complete tasks and compete to win a prize. Kristen Henderson has the story.
On Wednesday night, UAC held a scavenger hunt where students paired up into teams where they did everything from playing leapfrog to mimicking the thinker. The teams had a list of activities that were broken up into a point system of 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, with the team that had the most points being declared the winners.
We decided to bring back an old favorite, and so they had a list of items that they could choose from to do, and they broke into teams. The items were broken up by a point system, but then there's a big list of 5 so that they had a lot of things that they could go do, and it's just fun stuff like welcome everyone into Moe's, standing inside Moe's, and stuff like that. So it was really cool.
Students involved with UAC kept track with how many points each team had by having the scavengers post their accomplished task on social media with the hashtag #TroyUAC Scavenger Hunt. One student for the winning team said that this scavenger hunt gave him and his teammates an opportunity to learn some new things.
Well, we stopped some international students on campus, which none of us may know their language, but they taught us how to say Troy in their language, which was Japanese. So we got to say that and post it on social media, which was Instagram, and we got to learn something new just by interacting with somebody from another country.
And even though the winning team has been promised a prize, they have to be patient until next week to actually receive it.
They're going to get a prize on Monday at the meeting. We told them they're going to have to wait. A little suspense, never killed anyone. So at the meeting at 5 o'clock next Monday in the TC ballrooms, we're going to give them their prize. We also had to know how many people were going to be in each group, so we didn't want to get a ton of something or not have enough. So we're going to get them their prizes on Monday.
Christy Henderson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Next week, UAC will host their Dollar Movie Night. For many Troy University students, the amount of time they live in the city of Troy is determined by the number of years it takes to graduate.
But that is not necessarily the case for some graduates who choose Troy as their permanent home, and the city has been recognized as a town where graduates might want to live forever. Deborah Bogart explains.
The town of Troy was recently named number 50 on the 50 best college towns to live in forever by College Ranker. College Ranker is an online source dedicated to researching all aspects of college life. Factors such as community, neighborhoods, and schools were some aspects the source looked at when making their list.
It's a nice, safe community. The educational experience here is wonderful, and the people in Troy, when you talk about educators, not just at our level, but at the elementary schools and the high schools. The education system is great. Safety-wise, public safety, it's fantastic.
The article notes Troy's employment opportunities and Southern charm, but Troy Mayor Jason Reeves says it's that and other things that made Troy stand out.
Well, I think just the hometown feel of Troy. We've got a really low tax base here. A lot of things to do. You know, with a college town, Troy University offers so many different things. Right? Our U.S. Highway 231 is important. Our industrial diversity is very important, and our square is just great. It's really growing and gives a really neat feel to the community.
One Troy University graduate and now Troy resident says she could see this article helping not only the town, but Troy University out as well.
I think a lot of the incoming freshmen may see this article and say, wow, you know, it's a really cool place to go to school and a place to live afterwards. And, you know, it could always help with recruitment for the university.
Reeves said the honor really signified the strong relationship between the university and the city.
Well, I think it just speaks a great deal to Troy and Troy University's town-gown relationship. And I think this is a good standard that we're headed in the right direction, and we want to keep moving up on that list.
Deborah Bogart, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Mayor Reeves says that one of the biggest factors leading people to stay in Troy are the employment opportunities in the city.
And now taking a look at news from around the state, 5 University of Alabama fraternity members have been arrested in Tuscaloosa on charges of hazing. Authority says the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity members several weeks ago made pledges stand in buckets of ice and salt, a combination which led to burns on the pledges' feet. School spokesman Chris Bryant said the arrest Wednesday followed a thorough joint investigation by the University of Alabama Police Department and the UA Office of Student Conduct. Bryant says the students have also been placed on unspecified interim sanctions.
A federal judge has said that the use of pepper spray by Birmingham school resource officers in the city high schools for nonviolent minor incidences was unconstitutional. Local media outlets report that U.S. District Court Judge Abdul Kalan ruled Wednesday that he won't restrict the use of pepper spray by Birmingham school resource officers, but offered new training and procedures that develops within the next 6 weeks on how and when the devices will be used.
A 36-year-old Selma man has been accused of raping a teenager and possibly fathering her child. Police say Richard J. Jones was arrested yesterday and charged with second-degree rape of a child less than 16 years old and older than 12 years old. Still to come on Troy Trojan Vision News, we took a look at a football position. William MacArthur has more in sports.
Plus, we see the direction of Hurricane Joaquin is still ahead, so stay with us.
The East Coast is on high alert, tracking Hurricane Joaquin's every turn. I'm Leija Jang in Nags Head, North Carolina, with the latest coming up.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Daddy, I'm gonna find you.
This is Dr. Jack Hawkins. He's the Chancellor of Troy University and a veteran. One of his proudest achievements is serving those who serve and helping active duty military and veterans complete degrees that will build great careers. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy Trojan Vision News.
Troy soccer heads to Louisiana this weekend to play against Louisiana Monroe and Louisiana Lafayette, respectively. The Trojans are looking to bounce back after losing to South Alabama at home last Friday, ending their 15-match home win streak. With the team in the midst of conference play, head coach Jason Hamilton told his team that this is just only one game.
Last year, we started 2-3 in conference. So, we lost to South the first weekend, came back and won 2 the next weekend, then lost the next 2. So, we were in the same spot last year, and then we rallied to win the last 4 or 5 games of the conference to get second place. So, we just need to focus on this weekend coming up. Our conference this year seems like everyone's kind of beating each other up. So, if we play the way we played in that second half, take care of our home wins. So we've got 4 more games at home. So get back on track, win at home, and then if we split the 2 road trips, that puts us at 6-3, and that's exactly where we were last year. And
once again, the Trojans travel to Louisiana to play Louisiana Monroe on Friday at 3 p.m. and Louisiana Lafayette on Sunday at 1 p.m. Troy Tennis is sending 10 players to Tulsa, Oklahoma this weekend to participate in the St. Francis Health System ITA AllAmerican Championships. The men's tennis team is the reigning Sun Belt Conference champions. This tournament is one of the prestigious college Grand Slams in the tennis season. Head coach Scott Kidd explains how the tournament will benefit his players.
The All-American is considered one of the Grand Slams of college tennis. You have the All-American, then you have the individual championships that will be hosted at the U.S. Open Flush and Medal site, and then, of course, the NCAA Singles and Doubles Championship. So these are individual events. All these events this fall, of course, every match you win, better players you defeat, it helps you establish a national ranking. So that's very important.
Once again, the men's tennis team plays in the St. Francis Health System ITA All-American Championship in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Troy football is gearing up for one of the most anticipated matchups this season for students and fans alike when they take on South Alabama in Veterans Memorial Stadium on Saturday. One of the most important positions on any football team is the offensive line. Ryan Renfro takes a look at the progression of this year's O-line.
Rebuilding the wall. That's the phrase that seems to be floating around Troy when it comes to the Trojan football team. One player stands up from the Trojan wall itself and shares what his concern was coming into this season.
Me, the only senior on the offensive line, it was kind of tough, starting off in the summer and after spring, kind of wondering, where's everybody going to play? We've got, some guys that have played, and, the only 2 returners that had significant playing time were Tony and myself, the left tackle, and me. And it was something that I was concerned about.
Though lack of experience may have been a concern on the offensive line at the start of the season, Bennett says that the game plan down in the trenches has proven to be effective and that he's proud of the way his team has stepped up and competed, and he looks forward to what the rest of the season has in store.
With me and Luke swapping around after game one, it's wound up, working. Like I like what we're doing. I like how each guy is individually playing. Crumity's done very well, considering him being a freshman. He's very mature, and Jonathan Boring, I think he's come a long way. If you had asked me 8 months ago who's your right tackle going to be, I definitely wouldn't have said Boring, but I was just talking with him about this a few weeks ago. Told him how proud I was of him and how far he's come along. And I think everybody's just going to continue to, get better and work on things that they're weak at.
With the battle for the belt quickly approaching, Bennett examines the Jaguars' performance last week against a common foe and shares this week's keys to success on the offensive side of the ball.
NC State to find running lanes, and they had a good running back, but for the holes to be there and for the rushing yards to amount up. I think if we play fundamental football and, block how we've been coached and progress through it, I think, the running game is something that we're going to, rely a lot on at first. And, it opens up the passing game. You run, pass.
Ryan Renfro, Troy, TrojanVision Sports.
The Trojans play South Alabama in Veterans Memorial Stadium on Saturday at 6 p.m.